A little separately. First off, the story. The story pretty much takes place in an underwater city. The city's called Rapture. It was built by an expatriate communist capitalist who believed in free market and free trade, and he believed that the world was going downhill after World War II. So he got the best and brightest in the world, best scientists, athletes, artists, built this beautiful city underwater so they can go and survive the oncoming Holocaust of World War III, which he believed was going to happen. And the actual game story takes place where you go down about 10, 20 years later, maybe sometime in the late 50s, early 60s, as an everyman who somehow gets down there in this world, and you have to discover what went wrong. The city's gone downhill, the society has crumbled, and you're trying to answer all these questions as you play the game. We pretty much wanted to make a game in the same vein as System Shock 2, but we wanted to take it a step further. System Shock 2, we believe, it's been our favorite game. I mean, we love Freedom Force, we love SWAT, we love Tribes, but System Shock 2 it was almost our baby in a way, and we really loved what we accomplished with that game. I mean, obviously a lot of other people did too, but a lot of people called it Game of the Year. So we wanted to follow that same vein by giving a good first-person shooter that innovated on the genre and offered something new to console gamers. We wanted it to be a game that any person can play, not just a hardcore gamer or not just a System Shock fan. That was probably our core goal. That's one way where we can surpass it. The other way is by taking the core fundamental systems, and just going a step further with them, taking the core idea of having player choice and actually design the game so the choices that a player has are dictated by them, not by us. Well, I think we've got more new systems in there than were in System Shock 2 originally. Some things are slightly different. You don't have side powers, you have plasmids instead, but I mean, the complexity did not get cut down. We just made some things more accessible, like the interface for one. Like our inventory interface, we felt that was a bit clunky with how you did it in System Shock 2. So you still have inventory limits, you're still hungry, but as an interface it's easier. How you develop your character, we're giving you more information up front, more training. With System Shock 2 we kind of just dropped you in there. But we don't believe in dumbing down, because our industry is pretty much at a point where console gamers have been playing games for 8 or 9 years, and they want the complexity, they want the intellectual challenge that PC gamers have had for years, and they're not really getting it, or at least we don't believe they're getting it with today's game. So we're trying to offer them that. Dumbing down would be the last thing we want to do. Really, we're considering them as two separate SKUs. They're two totally separate teams. Our Australian studio is handling the PC version, and we're handling the 360. Now, I mean, to a certain degree, everything's coming from one team who's creating the content and the levels. But we're going to have the interface is going to be totally different between the two. And we're going to have to do some, game balance and some tuning, both to the controls and maybe to the overall difficulty, because it's easier to shoot with a mouse than it is with an analog joystick. And how you interact with the environment, both movement, picking up objects, it's always a little different depending on how you play. So it's going to take a little work, but overall the core game will be the same. But we're trying not to look at one as a port of the other, because if we do that, and if we treat it as a port, it's not going to be a good game on its own, right? Well, we're single player, so we're not going to have any multiplayer on Xbox Live. And right now, we're still looking into potential possibilities. There's nothing announced, nothing solid right now in regards to download content or anything like that. I mean, it would be nice to get some stuff on there, because we believe in Xbox Live, the marketplace, and we think it's doing a lot of good things for the consumer. But yeah, right now, no plans. We used a lot of stuff as resources, as influences, but I mean, we knew we really wanted to make a game right off the bat that was different. We've got a solid engine, solid rendering, all the latest technobabble that everyone's talking about, but everyone else has that too. So it's good graphics and no longer really going to be technology. It's going to be art direction. A game that looks good is going to have solid art direction. It's going to stand out from the rest of the pack, and we picked Art Deco, Art Nouveau, that era for the setting for our city, because one, it's fun to make. Two, it's pretty to look at. And three, no one's done it before, so it really sticks out. Oh. As of right now, from what we've seen, we've already got the best water right now. What we want to do is we want to put the player on the same path as these antagonists that are scaring them. The whole message of the game, the question that Bioshock is meant to ask you is, how far would you go to save your own life? And you're down here in the society of people who lost their humanity by mutating themselves and by fighting each other. You know, they're just former shells of who they are. But in order for you to survive, you've got to mutate yourself as well and go along that same path. And so we want to give the player some sort of connection to these monsters essentially that he's fighting, and pretty much that question itself we believe is going to be scary. I mean, we're going to have plenty of sneaks, you know, pop-outs and, you know, different types of scare tactics as well. But for the most part, we want to be more of an intellectual scare. For me, I've always been a fan of the hunger factor. The fact that, you know, if you just had a couple more bullets, you could probably get past that guy. But no, now, you know, now you're in a tight spot. I always loved that feeling. When I was playing System Shock 2, I never had enough. But that's what made the game tense for me, and that's what made it real fun. It wasn't like Doom where I had 50 rockets in my backpack and I can just blast my way through. I had to think carefully of every bullet I spent. I really had to scrounge through the world and hope I could find the resources I needed to get to the next level. And I thought that was real good. And that's what we wanted to retain, just that level of hunger all around.